This is probably too much clay, but it's alright. So for the lid, I want to make the slab a little bit thicker than the walls of the pot. Like for the spout, I wanted it to be thinner, so when I rolled it around, I didn't get those surface cracks. But for these lids, I feel like if they're too thin, they're just like little potato chips. And they are fragile, for one. They'll break much easier. But they just don't feel very good in your hand when you pick them up if they're too thin. So I want this to have some more thickness, or maybe just some weight to it, so when you pick it up it feels nice.
Good for you.
So then I'll just lay it in here and then let this stiffen up till it's kind of leather hard. So the more you press down in right now, like the higher the arch will be, because this is upside down. Another thing I like to do with this spout, a lot of times I'll add just a tiny bit of clay right in there so it doesn't have that teardrop shape to it.
I kind of like the teardrop.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. Where's your collar? Where's your collar? She looks weird without it. Hey, no.
She had a collar on earlier.
Mm-hmm.
She lost it, but she lost
Oh,
it
no.
on the parking lot where I found it.
Oh, good.
The glass broke.
Don't eat my paper. Sorry.
My dog ended up at the pound last year when I was out in Sika. And I've always been really good about having a tag with my phone number and stuff on it. But the tag had worn off on either side where it was rubbing. So like the first and last number were gone. And she got out, the people that were watching her, she got out of their fence. I got a phone call from Tom, and he was like, yeah, Willow's missing. I'm like, okay, well, I'll just call the community society and tell them that I'm missing my dog, so that, you know, they'll be on alert. I didn't expect to call there and her be there. But callers are a good thing.
Yeah, when I lived in Logan, because it's like 4 days and then they euthanize, or they
Yeah.
first dibs for experimenting on them.
4 days.
Oh,
That's
man.
it.
How freaky
That's
is that? I know, when I would go away, I would tell my house sitter, like, yeah, like, you know,
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is serious.
Get your dog computer checked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure my dog is. So I was surprised that maybe she had just got there when I called, but I got her at the pound, so I think they can do that
Chip
chip in
on there
all of them.
sometimes.
She probably just jumped. I don't know how she ended up there. The dog catcher found her, or someone called the pound, or what happened, but she probably just jumped right in their truck. Alright, here we go.
Free ride.
Yeah.
Go meet some friends.
Good. They just live in the office, so slide it under the desk or whatever. Okay. Sounds good.
It's a little too soft to be doing this. Let that stiffen up and then probably add a little more to make it more rounded. And also, because I was saying I like to be able to get my finger in there to kind of bend the spout around, but then by adding this little bit of clay at the end here, I can close up that opening, and I think just visually it looks nicer when it's a little smaller. So hopefully let this lid stiffen up.
Why do you decide to do a hand-built lid rather than throw on a lid?
Well, it's oval.
Oh,
so
right, yep.
I don't know. Maybe someone could do a lid. I don't know
You have
if I
to
can.
guard it too.
Good.
Yeah.
My stuff's kind of oval.
For a different reason, just like mine.
Pocket
The
bowls,
dish.
you know.
That one dish of mine that was yours is square. Did you burn that? You weren't able to handle
was
the
this in mine?
leaves? Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I showed it to you. I almost brought it today. It's squarish.
I probably just bend that square.
Okay.
Push it up from the inside with the rib or something.
Okay.
Going back to the pictures, do you guys use pictures at home?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's just glass.
In the summer, like you said, I see and stuff.
Yeah.
It's gonna change though.
Yeah.
Good.
Darren's gonna start drinking margaritas.
Yeah, there you go.
That'll be the day.
I'll put some root beer in that flask if I get one.
Yeah.
Do you make smaller, like creamer sized pictures too? Or you
I do, yeah. I make little cream and sugar sets. And I just started making, I made a couple of these little creamers that were almost like a mini of that one, or maybe like a mix. It wasn't like quite as tall of a neck in proportion, but it's like, this is really cool. I want to make some more of these. But the creamer that I normally make it looks more like the teapot. It has these little feet on it and a slab spout. It's a little time consuming. So I think I might start making these other little creamers because they're a little quicker.
They make good plant water too, actually, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
If you leave it sitting around instead of a plastic one, it's just so much more attractive. to
Yeah.
leave it sitting around
I
with
use them.
water.
Use pictures for that too. And you can't, as a maker, you can't really you can't dictate how your pots are going to be used. I'm sure people put flowers in my pictures, which is fine too. I mean, that's a really nice thing. Do you ever put flowers in pictures? 'Cause
Absolutely,
do you-
yeah. I got
Yeah.
some really nice ones that other people made at my house.
Yeah.
So they did great for flowers. Definitely.
Sometimes I feel like they're not the most attractive display for flowers, or at least whenever I put flowers in them. But so many people do it. Because I feel like the flowers like all fall out the spout, or like the whole bouquet wants to like go sideways or something.
Depends on the flowers for sure.
Yeah.
You can force branches. I have willow branches right now forcing out
yeah.
of a pitcher, and they're all putting leaves out.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And they're all wiggly, you know, it doesn't matter which way they go.
And fresh and green.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. That's nice.
Maybe I just haven't done enough flower arranging.
It's like growing grass in your home.
Yeah.
You ever done that?
Or
Like
wheatgrass.
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 Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
I didn't even see
When
that.
you've done enough pottery, you're gonna start trying to.
So I should tell you guys before I'm doing this. When I picked this up, there's kind of this impression where the rim had pressed in, and then I also marked around the edge. So I kind of have a mark from the inside of this and the outside, and I usually cut right in the middle. It's better to cut it a little bit too big, because I'm going to use that Sureform and get it the right size. So if you cut it too big, that's better. You can just keep shaving it down till you get the right size. And I would wait till this clay is much stiffer. I'm just trying to get this finished. So I first just Sureform to make that edge really rounded, so it doesn't look like I just cut this until it's really big. It's also good to let this be a little stiffer, because it's going to shrink a lot more. And I think sometimes I get this fitting how it should, because it's so gooey, it's going to shrink and be too little, or yeah, too little. I feel like Sureforming is the most boring part of the process to watch.
Oh.
Jackets.
Jackets
Well,
popping.
some houses make another.
And it's way too
It's
big.
more, it's like everywhere, you know, everywhere else that the things going on.
I did it quite good, didn't I?
Yeah. One set for
You
dinner.
wanna take like 8 of them? No.
Do you guys listen to music when you're working, or? podcasts, or
Sometimes, I do sometimes too.
what do you listen to?
Whatever
It's
gets
on-
whatever Doug puts
Whatever
on.
is convenient. There's an iPod
iPod
player.
there.
Public radio.
I like to listen to NPR.
Uh-huh. Any good podcasts that you guys are listening to?
Have you heard Serial?
Wow, that's
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good
yeah,
one.
that one's addicting.
Cereal,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
SER.
There hasn't been a new one in, I feel like it's been
No.
a couple weeks now.
Been waiting.
I know.
What are their topics?
There's
Murder.
Yeah, but it's like a 10-part. You know,
Like
the
whodunits?
first season is like 10 or 12 hour-long episodes about this, wrongly convicted murderer and just how backwards it was. And then the newer season is about an Afghan defector, an American soldier who defected and then got captured by the Taliban and was held prisoner for 5 years. And now he's back and telling his story, being charged with just leaving his outpost.
Oh, the boy from Idaho.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's on Serial.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
What do you listen to?
I have a whole bunch of them because when you're in the studio for 8 hours, you get through a lot of podcasts. I think my favorite right now is Death, Sex, and Money. And it's just random interviews about those topics. Or kind of about everything, really. I mean, everything kind of relates to those topics somehow. Radio Lab and TED Radio Hour are like go-to for sure. Those are good. But I feel like I just go through those so quick.
You get a lot of 20-minute talks in an afternoon.
Yeah. Freakonomics is good. I just started listening to that, one of the guys that does Freakonomics teamed up with another guy and they do Question of the Day. So that's like daily podcasts, but those are even shorter. It's like a 15 or 20-minute thing. I'm not sure if I'm totally into that one. I don't like when people kind of ramble on. So there is, what's that one? How Stuff Works. I stopped listening to that because it's good. Like the first half will be good, and then they just start rambling, and it's like, all right, I've had enough. What else is good? I started listening to Only Human recently. That one's pretty good.
Is this just plain water, or do you have something in
It's
there?
water. I just threw with it earlier, so it's kind of slippy. I listen to Ben Carter's podcast. I like his a lot. The Tales of the Red Clay Rambler.
What is it called?
Tales of the Red Clay Rambler.
Is he Montana based? Is that a red?
He lives in Santa Cruz,
Okay.
but he uses red clay terracotta. It's a good title. I think he does a really good job of interviewing people. I've listened to some of the other ceramic podcasts and just haven't found him to be that engaging. I think Ben's good at asking really thoughtful questions, but also letting the person he's interviewing, talk enough. Ben doesn't. He does interject his own stories sometimes, but I think it's a good balance. I think some of the other clay podcasts, the interviewer isn't as good about that. You just hear what the interviewer has to say, and it's like when you're reading this other person. What else do you guys listen to?
It's funk music.
Any other podcasts?
I stream radio from my phone from all over the country, you know?
That's cool. I should do that more. I don't have great internet connection, so usually I'll download the podcasts. I don't necessarily stream them. And my internet in the studio comes from the house, so it's a little hard to stream up there. I used to listen to a lot of books, but I think sharing studio makes it a little more complicated. Even podcasts, like, it's just hard if people are coming and going. Probably like in a community setting like this, books are hard because you can't really come in the middle of it. Podcasts are a little easier because they're shorter. Like, you can listen to them with the group. That's another good thing about having other people in the studio, kind of expose myself to other music and things like that. Sometimes it's easy to just kind of get stuck in your routine.
Where do you get your helpers from?
It's mostly word of mouth. I haven't advertised it yet. I probably will at some point, but so far it's worked out. Sometimes people will contact me. Sometimes I've, like, friends of mine that teach, I'll ask them, if you have a good student, send them my way.
Do you have somebody that cleans your studio?
That's what they're for. Yep.
They do your wood for you too?
They do a lot of it. I do all the chainsawing. I don't trust them to use my chainsaw. I used to.
Do you buck up your wood and everything yourself? Really?
Yeah. So I'll cut the rounds and then I have them split it. Which, running the splitter is probably just as dangerous, but I don't know.
Sounded like you were more worried about them ruining your tool.
I
than
do.
getting hurt.
I've gone through a couple of chainsaws, and I don't know if, like, the guys at the shop one time told me that the chainsaw was messed up because it either it didn't have the proper mix, the fuel oil mix, or it was just running repeatedly with $2 a chain. And it's when I was letting the two guys that were working for me run it almost all the time. I hadn't ran it for quite a while. And I don't want to be like, they broke it, but I don't know.
You don't go out and get the wood, do you?
I used to, but I don't anymore. I mostly have logs delivered. And for quite a while, there was so much of that beetle kill that I was talking about, the pine beetle. And so most of the time I wouldn't be like falling trees. It would just be like people would have logs on their property that they wanted hauled away. And I kind of got to know one of the loggers who was working in my neighborhood, thinning all the beetle kill. And so I got quite a few loads of free wood from him just because I think it was like the property owners didn't want the wood or something. Now that the beetle kill is a little, maybe it's more managed or something. There's not as much free wood out there. But I've still been in touch with this logger, and so occasionally I'll get a load of wood from him. I'll buy wood from him. But yeah, the two assistants, they do all kinds of stuff. They clean the studio once a week, which I think is really important to mop once a week. I'm pretty clean as a potter, but it's still like, you want to do this your whole life. I think those things are really important to be aware of. You don't want to be working in a big pile of clay dust. So they clean once a week, do a lot of wood prep. They help pack and ship pots when I need to do that. They do a lot to get ready for the firings and then to clean up after the firings. So they make glazes, make wadding, cone packs. Then after the firing, they clean all the shelves and kiln wash them all that stuff. And a lot of times, well, the cleanup I usually will do with them. We'll just do it right when we unload.
You have silicon carbide shelves?
I have both. I have some silicon carbide. I have some that I got from American Standard Company, so like the Kohler shelves. Those are, I think they're Molite. And then the assistants also do a bunch of random jobs. They mow the grass and shovel snow. Just all that stuff that you have to do. Go to the dump. They don't have trash pickup, so they take the trash to the dump. Sometimes once a week, usually it's like every other week. That chore is not so big.
You know what, your kilns, do you one fire?
No, I bisque everything. It's just easier to glaze.
Do you have them help do that too, like loading kilns and stuff?
They do. Like this weekend, I fired a kiln. I fired it overnight Thursday night, so they were unloading it for me, and then they're gonna do one more this firing, and so it's like it's usually a group effort. Like if I'm really kind of crunched for time, I'll have them do it. But usually we kind of just load it together. It's not very